threshold question before we get to the data and also specific races is, if the vote were held today, of the 100 delegates, it's now 51-48 Republican. How many would be Republicans and Dems at the end of the day? House of Delegates.
My prediction still holds. I think it's at least 55 are going to be Democrats.
Okay.
Nothing's changed in the other direction.
All right. So you say 55 Ds in the House. Okay. Now, in the Senate, it's now 21 Republicans, 19 Dems. And what's your prediction?
25.
Whoa, oh my God. I'm choking. I'm not laughing. Hey, Matt, I'm not laughing at you.
Oh, I know.
I'm not laughing.
I guess it's bullish, but so in terms of the data, I know you wanted to get to that next.
Yes, let's go.
More people registered to vote this year than they did in the gubernatorial election year. So for all the talk that turnout's going to drop off, interest is going to drop off, I'm not seeing it.
Okay, let's bear down on that. Are you talking about statewide? Registration is up statewide?
Yes, registration is up statewide over 40,000 from what it was in 2017.
And so just for a person who's not a political junkie like you and I, what does that mean? 40,000 people registered? How do we? What if they're all Republicans? Say it again.
Over 253,000 people registered to vote.
Okay, that's total, but is that additional?
That's additional, yes, new registrants.
Oh, 250,000.
Yes, 250,000.
Oh, I misheard you. I'm so sorry. Now, how do we know they're not mostly Republicans?
Generally speaking, those are not going to be. Those are, folks who've moved into the state generally. And those numbers just break down, around 70-30 generally. And sometimes you can tell by the areas in which they're moving to and how their politics, because if you track it year to year, the same numbers break down in that way.
Okay. What was I going to ask you? Okay, let's now focus on another data point. I love the data points before we get to specific races. Early voting, absentee voting, what data are you seeing in that category? Early voting, absentee voting.
Well, the stuff that I'm privy to is the Fairfax County, and the absentee voting is up double from what it was in 2015. And it's tracking somewhat closely with what it did in 2017. Today is the last day. A lot of people like to get their homework done at the last minute. I'm sure you know about that, having gone to law school.
Let's now go to the races, because I think, and I got to tell you, Matt, I think you're like John Fredericks. You're a great American. Al Green's a great American. I just call Diane the Great Diane. But I got to tell you, I'm not as sanguine on the Senate races as you are. So I think we will have. There's a good chance we'll have Dick Saslaw as a majority leader, and there's a decent chance, pretty good chance, we'll have Eileen Fillicorn as the first woman speaker in Virginia. But let's focus on the Senate, okay? I don't know why. I just like those Senate races. I got the fancy list here, okay? Diane printed it out for me. I want to focus on SD7. It's Cheryl Turpin running against Jen Kiggins. All right?
Yep.
Now, they're both good candidates. And for those who know, that's down in Hampton Roads. Am I correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Virginia Beach.
All right, so I assume you think that Cheryl Turpin's going to prevail.
I am. I do believe she's going to prevail.
All right, tell me why.
Just because, folks, the absentee turnout, the voter registration numbers are up, the energy is up. You can just tell from speaking with the operatives down there in the campaign. They're knocking doors. They're doing everything that they should be doing. And just the 30,000-foot view of that district. I mean, the incumbent, he retired for a reason. He didn't retire because they wanted to spend more time with their family.
Okay.
Just all the trains headed down the tracks.
All right.
And so that lets you know what was already going on. And then Cheryl's run a good race. Delegate Turpin's run a good race.
Now I got to do a shout out. Jen Kiggins has a pretty good background. I think she, I don't know if she went to the Naval Academy, but she's got a military background, so that may inure to her benefit. So that's a good race. Let's now go up the ladder here. Senate District Ghazala Hashmi. Now, for the listeners, I'm having Ghazala on at 10:50, so I'm very excited about having her on. She's running against an incumbent, Glenn Sturdivant. He was elected in 2015. I assume you are picking Ghazala.
Yeah, in a walk.
In a walk. Okay. Now, why do you say a walk?
You can just tell based on the performance over the last couple of years, and the only thing that could possibly go to his benefit is a drop-off in voter turnout, which I don't believe is going to be that significant, if at all. And the liberal women of Chesterfield County, they have not stopped their activities. They're still getting out. They're still knocking doors. They're still communicating online. Ghazala is raising all the money that she needs to. And also, if you look at the mailers and the ads that are being put out by the Sturdivant campaign, they're not substantive. They're actually they're like middle school tactics.
Right. I want to focus on the money because I know Ghazala's raised about $2.4 million. I think I'm right on that.
Yeah.
When I ran for lieutenant governor in 2017, I raised, I don't know, I think I raised close to $400,000. I was going, hey, that's pretty cool. And I made a lot of phone calls. I made almost 15,000 money calls, and I didn't raise as much as I needed, of course, but she's raised $2.4 million. Now, a good portion of that, for a lot of the Democrats, I don't know about the Republicans, a lot of the Democrats are getting money from outside the state. Now, is that having no effect or some effect on Republican turnout or on voter turnout in terms of whom you're voting for?
Well, it's an interesting thing that gets. I feel like that gets spoken about for Democrats. But when you look at race to race or Democrats versus Republicans in total, most of the Democratic money is coming from in-state. And no one said anything when Roy Moore's biggest backer came in and gave Nick Freitas, the guy who could barely get himself on, or actually not barely, he couldn't get himself on the ballot. No one said anything about them writing him a $500,000 check. But, and these are just things that are being thrown out there to make people feel like there's no organic support. But show up to a Ghazala Hashmi staging location today, and you'll see that there's Virginia support for Ghazala. Okay,
let's move down because this is too much fun. All right, I love this race. It's Senate District 11, and it's Amanda versus Amanda. Amanda Pohl, Pohl, versus Amanda Chase. Senator Chase is, of course, the incumbent. That's a tough one. What are you're calling Amanda Pohl?
I think that one's both fighters in this bout have a puncher's chance, and that's a testament to just the activism of the people on the ground there, and just the how do I say this politely, ridiculous nature of the things that the incumbent has said over the last so many months and continues to do. From the standpoint of suburban, independent voters.
Right.
I can only imagine that she's turning them off even more than what the national scene is doing.
Well, the thing I love about politics, I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, independent, vegetarian, or fruitarian, is the concepts, interpersonal skills, and just human nature are the same principles for any party. And all I can tell you is this: whenever the Democrats